Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all from all corners of the world. Please come on in, settle in, grab yourself a cup of coffee or water, depending on wherever you are. Please let us know you're also here by sending us a comment if you can. In today's sessions, we explore how the Sabi Sabi Collection is growing its luxury offerings while staying true to its roots in conservation, community, and guest experience. And now, before I introduce our speaker for today, I would like to just remind you of our questions and answers session, which will be held at the end of the presentation. Please feel free to send us your questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A feature or the little icon. And at the end of the presentation, the speaker will attempt to answer all of your questions. I can see people from the UK, Johannesburg, Germany, and Geneva. Please welcome in, settle in. Just give it a few minutes just before we can jump into introducing the speaker while we welcome everyone else. I can see Durban, Cape Town, Uganda, Johannesburg, Hoedspruit. Hello, everyone. I'll jump straight into it with the hopes that everyone else is gonna be joining or is already here. So our speaker for today is Jacques Smit. It's my pleasure to introduce Jacques Smit, the marketing director of Sabi Sabi Collection, one of South Africa's most respected luxury, safari, and conservation brands. Jacques brings a wealth of experience to the table, having started his career as a safari guide before moving into destination marketing. This unique background gives him a deep understanding of guest experience, sustainability, the power of storytelling. He's played a key role in expanding the Sabi Sabi brand into an exciting new ventures, including the recently launched Sandringham Private Game Reserve, as well as the Claremont Boutique Hotel in Cape Town. Jacques is deeply passionate about conservation, uplifting local communities. He continues to champion the authentic and meaningful travel experience that truly connect people to Africa's wilderness. Please join me in welcoming Jacques Smit. Over to you.
Really, thanks, man. Appreciate the opportunity. And thanks for everybody dialing in from all over the world. Yeah, hopefully in the next 25 to 30 minutes, we can run through what the Sabi Sabi collection is all about. You guys all know the brand Sabi Sabi quite well. And in recent times, we've moved into some exciting territory. And then, yeah, after the presentation, please do hang on to any questions, and I'd actually prefer to, discuss some questions and go through some of the detail. But hopefully just with some of the visuals, I'd be able to, tell a bit of the story. As I said, Sabi Sabi is a known brand to everybody, and we're still fortunate that we have the original founder and owner still very much involved with the business. He has taken a step back and is more involved in the foundation side of things, very much focused on how tourism benefits the local communities, how tourism is changing lives. And I think this was quite highlighted through COVID, where we were fortunate enough to, keep all our staff, pay all our staff throughout the entire crisis. And post the pandemic, we've seen a very different environment. We've seen an environment where kids from school are asking us for vacancies for next year. The young youth are asking us for training opportunities. Hence, are setting up quite a few academies, from a hospitality to rangers to trackers to chefs. This way, making sure that the youth are actually coming through and starting their employment empowered with skill and knowledge. And with this, we just realized that there's a massive impact to make within the greater community outside the reserves. And that's where we've decided to start spreading our recipe of success at Sabi Sabi into other areas. Um, where we stand right now, Sabi Sabi is still our heart and soul and always will be. And I'm glad with this opportunity, I can at least share with you guys some changes, some highlights where we've continuously invested in the products. But also, I'll share with you exciting developments up in the Hoedspruit area between Thornybush and Timbervati, where we're developing the Sandringham private game reserve. And then if you see added gray hairs to my head, it's because we've just launched a beautiful boutique hotel in Cape Town. I never thought renovating a 100-year-old building would be that challenging, but it has been phenomenal, and it's been received with huge, huge success. So, in a nutshell, the Sabi Sabi collection is taking that that authentic and immersive guest experience and placing it into other areas, while at the same time having a huge focus on the communities and people that benefit from the tourism that these establishments bring into the area. And I think that's what has made Sabi Sabi quite, excuse me, unique over the years. We don't just focus on big five safaris. We don't just focus on, driving guests from one sighting to the next. I think for the last 45 years, we've become renowned for a complete holistic safari experience where we focus on everything that the bush has to offer. And this is what we're bringing into all elements of the collection. It's also important for us to make sure that the communities who surround the areas also benefit through tourism, and in doing so, become massive partners in the protection and preservation of the environment that we get to share with guests from all over the world. So, Sabi Sabi, we're actually very, very proud to share the latest awards of Condé Nast Traveler. The USA voted us #1 resort in South Africa. UK voted us #3, because I know, membership here is very much spread across the world. And I say this tongue in cheek because we are very proud of this accolade. It's the Reader's Choice Award, and we have a company policy where we do not solicit votes. So this was very much an organic appreciation and a sign of acknowledgement from previous guests. So very, very proud of that. But what makes Sabi Sabi, I think, unique, often people ask me, what makes us different? And it comes down to the people. I've been with the company for almost 20 years. I was chatting to Puli earlier. I mean, we've got a guy who's been with us for 45 years. We've got staff who are multiple staff who are 30, 35 years with the company. And it all comes down to a simple philosophy that stems from being in a family-owned business: empathy. Empathy for us means putting yourself into someone else's position and seeing life from their angle. And for us, our #1 priority is empathy for each other, the people we work with. Once we get that right and we can understand the different social backgrounds, the different cultural backgrounds, and working together as one family, we can then pass that empathy on to our guests, which are your clients, understanding where they've come from, what their expectations are. And that's why it's always such an important journey of discovery when planning the safari is, let's ask guests what are their expectations when they're out there. And I think empathy towards you, our partners, again, highlighted during COVID. We understand how much effort goes into getting a guest to actually make that decision to come and stay with us. So when there's partnerships involved and when we need to make joint calls together, we would like to put ourselves in your position and make sure that we make the best decision out there. And then I think most importantly, from a safari point of view, is empathy towards the environment. Simply put ourselves in the animal's position and ensure that every single time we engage with any of the animals, they never associate us with stress. This way, as we part ways, there's never going to be any cause for them to be skittish or nervous when next we meet. And that could be 5 minutes from now, it could be 5 months from now. And I think that has been the result to Sabi Sabi Safari success, in that we can take guests out on safari on a daily basis with guides and trackers, extremely skilled, well trained, um, and in open vehicles, get to immerse yourself into this beautiful bush environment, watching wildlife approach you in a vulnerable way, watching wildlife expose their young cubs that they're so protective over in your presence, knowing that you mean no harm. Being present when predators are out on the prowl and out there hunting for food, literally moving around the vehicle as if you're part of nature itself. It's always great to see beautiful um, protected species, endangered species thrive on our reserve. I always say it's a testament of how that well they are treated. Now, keep in mind, we are part of a open park system. It means that our reserve has no boundaries with neighboring protected areas, which have no boundaries with public national parks, and this spans over 3 different countries. So wildlife have got free roam. They can move around. We don't own the animals, we own the land. So it's our responsibility to make sure that the environment that is created there for them is in a pristine condition, and it actually is a place where they feel secure, and this way are not going to move off every time you have a vehicle come around a corner and head out on safari. And I think 45 years of that philosophy has allowed us to offer great safari experiences to guests from all over the world. And as I said in the beginning, we don't just focus on the big stuff. I love having guests come on safari and you ask them on safari, the first game drive, anybody into birds? No, not really. Great. Challenge accepted. And you will try and convert them into enjoying birds as much as you do, or butterflies, or medicinal use of grasses and trees. Bring everything to life while at the same time still showing them the big game that they came to Africa to experience. We want guests to leave our safaris going back home and saying, wow, I thought this was going to be a once in a lifetime experience, but I've just been exposed to so much more than what I thought was going to be available in the bush. I now want to go back. I hear Botswana is phenomenal for birds. I hear Zambia is fantastic for walking safaris. We want people to continue to come back to Africa and experience other parts of this beautiful continent of ours. So Sabi Sabi has got 4 lodges. Many of you would know the brand from years back. Often on our travels, we bump into people who say, oh, I know Sabi Sabi. It was my first off safari experience back in 1984. A lot has changed, but the heart and soul of the company and the business is still very much the same. So Salati Camp maintains its beautiful classic charm. It's got a sense of walking into an old adventurer's home with original artifacts, with original antiques from the yesteryear. This beautiful camp. It's only got 7 suites, so it's small and intimate. The suites itself make you feel like you are stepping back in time, yet it's got all the luxuries that are required. Beautiful natural light is the main feature in all our camps. I want you to be brushing teeth in the morning and staring at that vervet monkey looking back at you. Or I want you to be lying in that bath and seeing an elephant's trunk coming over that stone wall, grabbing from drops from the shower nozzle above. These are the experiences that change people's lives. And then you have Bush Lodge, a beautiful camp. It's got 21 luxury suite, 21 luxury suites, 1 accessible suite, and 3 family villas. For many people, they think Bush Lodge, it's a big camp. But yeah, in lodge sizes, it is quite big. But in hotel sizes, this is still very boutique and very quaint. But what makes Bush Lodge unique because of its size is it's great for families. I'm a parent of two kids, 2 beautiful daughters, age 11 and 8, and every time I go to the lodge with my kids, I realize this elephant center is made for parents, not for children. Because while my kids are there, we're out on a walk. We're um, out on the deck, just relaxing, reading a book, catching up on time together as a couple. And this way, we know that our kids are at the elephant center. Um, And what I love here is there's no electronics. It's good old-fashioned play, arts and craft, I mean, by the time we come back home, I'm still washing paint off my children's faces. I'm washing glitter off their fingers from sand art. But the messages they keep bringing back from their playtime at the elephant centers, all aimed at responsibility for their generation towards protecting the planet. And that really makes a big difference for the conservationists of the future. Bush Lodge, all our suites have been beautifully refurbished. We've got lovely luxury suites with open plan bedroom, lounge room area. And then due to the high demand of private vehicles and multi-generation family travel, we now have 3 family villas at Bush Lodge, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, and each of them have got their own private safari vehicle. So great for exclusive guest experience. Then Little Bush Camp, an absolute gem. Only got 6 suites tucked away in the forest, right on the banks of the Msutlu River. Your main lodge area is pretty much your home in the bush. With only 12 guests, it really is a quaint little camp. It's also ideal for a multi-gen buyout. Standard suites, you got 6 standard suites, all open plan bedroom, lounge room area, lovely large spacious bathroom. And there again, you can see what I referred to earlier about natural light. I want you to be sitting in that bath looking out towards the bush. I want you to be in that shower looking at the elephants on the other side of the riverbank, and or just doing a bit of bird watching from your own deck, because each deck has got its own little hot tub. And then Earth Lodge, I think a camp that often dates people in the industry. When I say Earth Lodge is 25 years old, their eyes go big because they realize and they can remember when it first opened up. It was a very new and I think very innovative lodge when it opened up back in the year 2000. Over the years, it has had refurbs which focuses very much on art, very much on fashionable items. And just before COVID, we made the decision to actually let's make the architecture of Earth Lodge its main art piece. And then let's bring the interiors a together with a beautiful traditional safari lodge look and feel. So here you have 12 luxury suites, each with its lovely own private swimming pool, beautiful open plan bedroom, lounge room areas, lovely light ceilings. All the art there is hand drawn of flowers and insects and plant species found on the lodge itself. Lovely hand blown glass chandeliers, but unspoiled views out towards the bush. It really is a camp where you would feel like you're the only person around. Then, of course, due to the demand, we've got a beautiful 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom private villa, suitable for families which are adult families with kids older the age of 13. Our food philosophy is one of simple, done well. Great flavors, local chefs, local ingredients. We have a buying policy of not buying outside of 2 hours radius from the reserve itself, making sure we support local farmers and distribution channels, but just great flavors. We want people to come back from safari being blown away with what they've seen, and then being surprised by the amazing culinary offering that we can offer in South Africa, and in particular out in the lodges. And you pair that with wines from wineries that are off the beaten track, and you've got a beautiful South African experience waiting for you. Our wine list has won numerous awards due to its selection, all aimed around wines that you most likely are not going to experience when you go down to Cape Town, as we've gone and sourced wines over that first mountain range. So Hemel and Arde Valley out towards Hermanus, Elgin, Robertson, the whole Route 62 area, Tilbach area, and then of course some beautiful iconic wines that we've continued throughout the years, just giving guests a bit of a different flavor to what they would experience when they are out in the Cape. And then I think very exciting is the Sandringham Private Game Reserve. To give you a quick bit of history, this basically was an opportunity that we were presented with during COVID. It was a very neglected hunting reserve. And I think we fell in love with the opportunity that this reserve shows us. It's a place where we can use tourism to turn irresponsible hunting into a wildlife sanctuary and protected area. For those people who know the area, if you look down in the bottom end of the picture there, you've got our 4 love hearts. I've used those little symbols purposely because Sabi Sabi will always be our heartbeat. We are never going to change that. And everything we do within the collection is there to complement the Sabi Sabi experience. And if you travel up northwest towards Hoedspruit, in that section between Thornybush, Timbervati, and Ngala, on the Auburn Road, you've got this beautiful area that has got 4 rivers that flow through it, of which the Timbervati is the major water source throughout there, which means there's water throughout the year. And this camp, sorry, in this reserve, when we took it over in 2021, animals would run a mile. And we knew that there was a lot of work that needed to be done for us to actually open up a commercial operation here in time. And we spent the last 3 years, excuse me, rehabilitating wildlife. And we started slowly by introducing a tracker training academy, basically on-site training young youth from the environment and the local communities in the art of tracking. This way, every day they'd head out into the bush and they would stumble upon wildlife and there'd be a peaceful departure. No shots were fired. And we keep doing this every single day until the animals actually just stop running away. Elephants were extremely relaxed, which tells us there was no big game hunting taking place. But unfortunately, it was the worst possible hunting, which was weekend warriors coming out and shooting our plains game and predators. We found a white lioness in a cage on the reserve when we took it over. And sadly, she was in such a bad state that we had to euthanize her. But I think as good karma and I think those looking out for us have blessed us. The first litter of cubs that the Pride of Lions produced had a white lion in it, and he's actually doing very, very well at the moment. So it is a reserve that is rich in wildlife. We are now at a position where we've started building. And if I look at this picture here, excuse me, this is the one building site or campsite for Nweti Camp. Nweti, which means silhouette in Shangaan, and you can see those beautiful silhouettes of the Drakensberg Mountains in the background there. This dam is filled with water throughout the year. So you've got the Timbervati River that flows in, and then it makes this bend and heads up north, and then drops down through this weir, which is crossable, so we can do safaris across this weir up onto that dam wall. Every afternoon, around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you've got a herd of elephant that swim from the one end of this dam to the other side. But imagine 6 beautiful canvas suites looking out towards this view. And then if you go and stand on the other side of that hide structure, you'll see this beautiful Tamboti forest. This section of water in front of the Tamboti forest is seasonal. So it pushes back in wet season and it dries up in the dry season, but it leaves behind it a beautiful, lush grasslands, which means in the mornings, as the day starts heating up in winter, animals leave the protection of the forest and they come and they spend the entire day out here in the open. So imagine 6 suites tucked away in this forest, plus 2 family suites. And this camp will be called Shisaka, which means nest. Because every suite here is going to have a nest-like structure on top of the suite, which means you can walk up to the top, either have a sleep out, or an early morning coffee, or a late night stargazing, and you are elevated above the tree line, looking out over towards the other side of the river. That's just some renders of what the camp is going to look like. So you've got your main camp linking to the 2 lodges, beautiful interiors, just keeping with authenticity of the area and making sure that we pay respects to this beautiful environment that we've started building our lodges in. So the camps, the Shisaka camp suite, so 6 of these, each with beautiful large wooden deck, lovely large private plunge pool. There you can see the nest-like structure on the side with its little walk up to the top. Interiors, beautiful lounge room, bedroom, bathroom areas. And the style of the decor, again, is going to be very authentic and very true to the environment there. Then you have two family villas, 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms. Again, lovely large deck area. Here you have your little staircase that goes up to the top with your elevated views out towards the bush, and similar interiors to what the suites would be. And then Nweti Camp, as I said, this has got an element of canvas in. Imagine this overlooking that dam, large wooden decks, beautiful natural stone, lounge room, bedroom, bathroom area. And if you look at the planned interiors here, you will literally wake up in the mornings and at the edge of your bed, you'll be sitting on the edge of that water, looking out towards the Drakensberg Mountains in the distance. So stunning camps, set to open June 2026. We are currently 50% complete with building, but at the same time continue our rehabilitation of wildlife. Wild Earth have taken residency on the reserve. Selfishly, it means vehicles are moving around the reserve, continuously meeting animals and continuously leaving sightings peacefully. And this allows the rehabilitation process to continue where animals are not threatened by our presence. And just recently, we've actually started seeing leopards with cubs present their cubs to us. So not only are the lions becoming a lot more relaxed, in fact, they're very relaxed. They don't even move out the way. But leopards are now coming down the trees, showing their cubs to us. And these are all signs to tell us that this bush is really developing into a wildlife sanctuary for these animals where they feel safe and protected. Great plains game, large numbers of buffalo. It really is going to be a phenomenal wildlife experience. I can't wait to, in someday, spot my first Pals fishing owl on the banks of these beautiful waters. I do think it's going to be a bird lover's delight. And we are going to keep a section of the reserve for walking safaris, making sure that the pace is slowed down quite a bit when you do come on safari at Sandringham. And then the Claremont, it's a beautiful boutique hotel in the suburb of Claremont. For those of you who don't know Cape Town, it's on the eastern slopes of Table Mountain, 5 minutes away from Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, 15 minutes away from the Constantia Wine Valley, which has got 8 phenomenal historical wine vineyards, and it's only 20 minutes away from the Cape Town CBD. Just the other day, we wanted to go for a walk at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Kirstenbosch was closing in half an hour's time, so we quickly hopped in the car, drove across to the Zift markets, and literally within 20 minutes we were on the promenade and had the most amazing walk while watching the sun go down on the promenade, and an easy return journey back to the hotel. So the Claremont is a boutique hotel with 15 rooms. It's a historical heritage listed building designed by Magdalena Sawyer, the first female registered architect in South Africa. She designed and built this building in 1928. And over the years, it's developed into this beautiful estate with lovely gardens and 15 hotel rooms. And what we want to do with this refurb was celebrate the history of the era, the 1928 era, but also digging into the history of Magdalena Sawyer. We found out that she's the sister of Paul Sawyer, who's the father of Bordeaux blending in South Africa, from Kanonkop. I think many of you know that wine estate. They grew up on the wine farm called Eetcake. They were the grandchildren of the owners of Groot Constantia. So immediately there was this wine connection, and we just thought, being 15 minutes away from Constantia Vineyards, let's bring the wine journey into the hotel experience. So you've got this beautiful dining facility called Veld and Vine, and as the name says it, it's all about farm to fork style dining, but beautiful Constantia Vineyards. Then you've also got this lovely safari library where you'd actually sit there and be able to look at memorabilia and beautiful books of safaris throughout Southern Africa, not just up to Sabi Sabi, but throughout Southern Africa. This is where we want people to be able to sit around that fireplace and enjoy a beautiful glass of wine, and either plan their next safari or reminisce about something that they've just experienced. You have this beautiful summer lounge, I know our UK and European markets in particular love the sun. So every time the sun is out and shining through those beautiful paned windows, you've always got people sitting in here. And this is where you'll serve your beautiful Chenin Blancs or your lovely Constantia Valley bubbles. And then, of course, you have 10 deluxe suites, 10 deluxe rooms, each very spacious bedroom, lounge room area, all the luxury amenities, beautiful, spacious bathrooms. You have 4 classic rooms, which since we've opened, the comments have been, if this is your entry level room, then really the space at the Claremont is extremely generous. They are very spacious, beautifully decorated with a lot of charm and a lot of care and attention to the history. So in total, 10 deluxe rooms, 4 classic rooms, and then you have the Sawyer Suite, which is a beautiful all-inclusive suite with private swimming pool, lounge area, dining area, and private access to its own private car park. And then, as I mentioned, just with the dining experience, the Felton Vine, it is again just good, simple food done well. We've been rolling out some amazing dinners in the last 2 weeks since we've opened, or actually the first week. And it really is a huge hit amongst the local residents of Claremont and Newlands and Constantia area, as well as our guests staying out there. But what we're trying to encourage is that people go and explore the eastern side of Table Mountain. The beautiful Constantia winelands. We've got a beautiful sundowner safari on Plain Constantia. There's also walking opportunities where you can actually walk with a guide from Groot Constantia through some of the wine farms all the way through to Buitenverwacht. There's also guided walks throughout Kirstenbosch. You can go and hike up Table Mountain. I don't know if any of you knew, but there's over 100 ways of actually hiking up to Table Mountain. And these are the trails that are less frequented. And if anybody is wary about not knowing the way or carrying their own picnic, we have got guided opportunities where people could actually walk up to the top of the mountain and get to experience the beauty of the Table Mountain National Park, 5 minutes away from the hotel. And then just going to market, and I know Puli will share this with you guys afterwards. But as I mentioned, we want Sabi Sabi to be the heart and soul of these itineraries. So we've got pay stay deals at Sabi Sabi and at Claremont. And next year we'll also have at Sandringham, which is simple pay 3 nights, stay 4. And then we've got Kruger and Cape Town combos where you stay 3 nights at any of the Sabi Sabi Collection safari lodges, and you'll get 2 nights free in Cape Town at the Claremont. It's a great way just to show people how to combine the two. So coming into next year, once Sandringham obviously opens, these will become a little bit more, giving you a little bit more variety. And then combining the bush, you've also got the Sabi Sabi and Sandringham fly-in special. The idea is, and you can do this either way, fly into Skukuza, stay 3 nights Sabi Sabi, we'll fly you from Sabi Sabi to Sandringham, stay 3 nights Sandringham, and you fly out of Hoedspruit. It's just a way of connecting the two reserves. And people have said, well, what's going to be the difference? You've seen the lodges. We've purposely designed the lodges to not compete with Sabi Sabi, but rather offer something that we don't have. When it comes to safaris, it'll be the same level of guiding, but it will be slowed down. There'll be more walking, there'll be more birding, there will be more focus on the rehabilitation process that's taken place out there. And as I've often said to people, you're going to be seeing the same species, but at the one you'll see a herd of elephants swim through a lake, and the other one you'll see a beautiful herd of elephant, just quietly walking across the open grasslands. But every wildlife encounter is always different. So we do look forward to welcoming guests to experience both Sabi Sabi and Sandringham and the Claremont. And that's me in a quick nutshell, trying to get as much information as across to you guys. Obviously, with all this development, it works hand in hand with our foundation. Our foundation is very involved in the communities outside of Sabi Sabi, and we are already engaging with the communities outside of Sandringham, and looking at opportunities in Cape Town to see where we can use tourism to make the most difference to the people, their lifestyles, so that the connection is always made back to those communities of how important preservation of wildlife and preservation of the environment is, because it attracts tourism, which produces revenue stream to uplift communities and lifestyle for people. Thank you, Puli.
Well, thank you so much, Jack, for an insightful and inspiring presentation. It was a privilege, obviously, to learn a little bit more about the expansion of Sabi Sabi. And, the new properties, they are very stunning, beautiful. And you also, I do want to say, your focus on conservation and land restoration and community upliftment was truly powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's quite an inspiring thing to see how Sabi Sabi continues to grow while staying true to its core values. I do have a couple of questions that have popped up
Sure.
on here. Let me just go through them for you. I have Patrick Magezi who said, "Thank you so much for this meeting. I'm Patrick from Uganda. Kamara discovering conservation, community, and tourism. Of late, we have seen so many community members participate in poaching and wildlife due to a lack of alternative income sources. You as Sabi Sabi, how do you advise such?"
Sure, Puli. It's every area I've learned over the years has got its own challenges.
Mhm.
And if I just look at our rhino poaching, crisis that we still face, but we were facing much more probably about 8 years ago. The success of us combating the poaching was that everybody basically looked at their own backyards and made sure that they protected their area, and then started sharing knowledge. It's poaching due to poverty is always going to be a problem. It is always, I think in Africa, it's always going to be something that we're going to have to combat.
Yeah.
And I personally, and this is just my opinion, rather than focus on the poaching, let's focus on the poverty. And that's why what Sabi Sabi has done is created opportunities and employment opportunities to remove the poverty. And you're never going to do away with it completely, but you are going to, through tourism, create opportunities for people to get into an industry where they're not just making a difference, but they're also, looking after dependents. In Sabi Sabi's area, one salary would often impact up to 30 dependents, and that's just extended families around. So it's important that we look at the employment opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, what we've done, rather than just create jobs, create careers. And careers start with academies, training, teaching. I think in our industry, we've all had people get thrown in the deep end, and after 3 weeks, they just don't rock up to work anymore because it's just been too much. Rather spend a year training them so that when they actually do come to work and they are, in the front line, they've got experience, they've got confidence, and they've got the skills to actually know what they're doing. And this then has a knock-on effect to the rest of the community where they say, look, Jeepers, Lawrence McKenzie is a lodge manager. He started as a tracker. You've got people that are lodge anchors, and they started in the scullery. So what we want to do is create this sense of this industry can create opportunities, and not everyone has to be a ranger or a tracker. We've got one guy who applied for a reception position. It's like in the interview process, we asked him, what do you want to do in reception? He says, I want to eventually end up in the back office in finance and admin. And I know for me to do that, I need to know what's happening in the front of the office.
Mhm.
That is all through creating the awareness of what tourism can do to the community and how it's important to protect tourism, which is protecting wildlife and doing away with poaching,
Yeah.
And you can't just do away with the poaching. You need to then almost supplement it with another source of funding, which is then employment. And to do that sustainably, I feel needs to come hand in hand with academies and training and tackling it from that angle.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering that one. I have a couple of questions from Angus, just three of them. I'll try and be quick in respect of time. The Sabi Sands is a very busy reserve. What is the best selling point for guest familiar with Okavango Delta, Mana Pools, and South Luanga? That's question number one.
Let me tackle that quickly. I do get often asked, why should I come to the Sabi Sands and not to the Delta or not to Monopools? And my simple answer is do all of them. Don't choose because the Delta is phenomenal. You know, Zambia is phenomenal. Monopools, I just 2 nights ago spent an hour reminiscing with someone about how beautiful, safaris art in that area is. Um, all I can always tell people is about what we offer. And again, never saying this is better than another area. Each area offers different environments.
Yeah.
But what I do love about Sabi Sabi is I love the quality of guiding. I do love the fact that we don't just focus on big stuff. We don't jump around from sighting to sighting. You're actually going to leave your safari with us with a full knowledge of interpreted safari experience. You can understand the dynamics of the lion pride that you've just witnessed and seen. You can understand the dynamics of every plant species and insect species that comes into play. But I think in current times also where sadly African tourism has been highlighted in some areas where there's a lot of over tourism. It's not the majority. With us, which is phenomenal, is you're never going to share a sighting with more than two other vehicles. And people do have this perception that yes, the Sabi Sands is very busy. Yeah, of course it's busy, but it can also be very well controlled. If wildlife and the environment is your priority, you can control sightings to make sure there is no pressure. And we've been doing it for the last 45 years. Even if you allowed 3 vehicles in a sighting, if that animal's body language starts telling you, I'm not happy, we start dropping vehicles. And eventually, you're always going to have one senior vehicle staying behind to try and assess the situation. If the behavior continues, we leave completely. And later on, we'll come back and we'll try and investigate what's going on. Is this animal injured? Is there something deeper that we need to look at? So wildlife behavior needs to always be a priority. I hope I answered the question there.
Hopefully. I hope that answers your question, and Angus. The other question is private villas and game drives are massively popular. Without the marketing hat, are you feeling the seeds and beds?
Yes. Um, Look, it's one of the reasons why we've gone from 2 villas to we now have 4 villas plus a presidential suite. And each of those villas and the presidential suite comes with its private vehicle. And we've done that because we can't keep selling private vehicles to every guest who wants a private vehicle, sadly, because the reality is it's not sustainable on the environment. It's not that there's a lack of vehicles. We just don't want added pressure onto the environment. So we've rather created villas where if you book a villa, you get a private vehicle. If you want a private vehicle, book a villa. And yes, they are in high demand, and we are selling quite a few of them.
Okay, wonderful. In respect of time, I will not read out all of Angus's questions. I'm gonna jump to this one, which will be our last one. Does the Sabi Sabi have discounts for tour operators and other people in the tourism industry?
Absolutely, yes. I firmly believe that us as a tourism community are all ambassadors of each other's countries, each other's regions, each other's safari opportunities, and Sabi Sabi's doors are always open for people to come and experience. It's to me the best way to South Africa. Our philosophy is let's South Africa first, then Southern Africa, then South Africa, then our region, then our lodges. No one's going to come to your lodge if you can't even get into Africa. So we need to all work together there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jack, for a wonderful presentation. And to our webinar attenders, thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. And if there's any question that I didn't read it out and you've asked here, I believe Jack will be sending me the feedback, which I'll send it out with the post-webinar recording. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today, and thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to engaging with many of you if you have questions.
Yes, absolutely. And just to say again, I will also be posting the webinar recording just as after this, where you will also find Jack's details, contact details, and all the feedback relating to the questions that were asked here and during the registration process. So that brings us to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Bully.
Thank you, Jack. Bye-bye.